Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this straight. Your life does not change when the calendar flips or when you repost a quote. Your life changes the moment you change your standards. 1 week, just 7 days, of real alignment, real action, and ruthless honesty with yourself can do more for your future than a lifetime of excuses ever will. This isn't theory. I lived this. I've tested it. These 5 habits aren't flashy, they're not aesthetic, they're not for show, they're war-tested, and when I committed to them, really committed, in just 1 week I started to think clearer, feel stronger, and show up differently. Not perfect, but awake, and that was the shift, that was the ignition. Let's talk about the 5 habits that flip the switch. The way you start your day is the way you live your life. That hit me hard when I realized I was waking up every morning already behind. I wasn't losing because of lack of talent, opportunity, or even time. I was losing because I kept letting my morning be a reaction instead of a decision. When I finally chose to take back the first 60 minutes of my day, everything started to shift. Not because the world changed, but because I changed before the world even got a chance to speak. I stopped checking my phone first thing. That alone created space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to choose intention over input. The truth is, if you let notifications and noise hit you before you even stand up, you've already surrendered your focus. Your direction gets hijacked. Your mindset gets flooded. So I stopped handing over my mind to the outside world before I even remembered who I was. Instead, I started waking up with purpose, not perfectly, not with some 2-hour ritual and green juice fantasy, just with presence. I made my bed, I drank a full glass of water, I stretched for 5 minutes. I breathed deeply. I said something out loud that anchored me. Today, I choose strength. I don't wait for it. I choose it. That alone changed my posture. I wasn't waiting for the day to be kind. I was preparing to meet it with strength, no matter what it brought. Then I wrote down the 3 things that mattered most, not a to-do list, a must-do list, the things that, if I finished them, would move my life forward even 1%. Sometimes it was sending an uncomfortable message. Sometimes it was writing. Sometimes it was just showing up to the gym even when I felt weak. But I wrote it down, and I said it out loud. I spoke asterisk into asterisk my day. That's what changed me. That's what turned mornings from chaos into clarity. And yeah, I still had to deal with life. The emails still came. The stress still existed. But the difference, I was asterisk ready asterisk. I didn't wake up in defense. I woke up on offense. I wasn't begging for peace in the middle of the storm. I brought my own storm. That's the power of owning your morning. It's not about perfection. It's about position. When you start from strength, you stop chasing it later. I didn't need 7 hours of free time or some magic sunrise. I just needed discipline. I needed to stop giving my morning away like it was worthless, because those first 60 minutes are where your mindset gets built, where your energy gets decided, where your intentions become action. And that's how you build momentum that doesn't just last the day. It starts to reshape your entire direction. So if you want a different life, don't start with motivation. Start with your morning. Start before the world wakes up. Start before your doubt wakes up. Start like your future depends on it, because it does. There's a version of you that only comes alive when you stop lying to yourself. That's the hard truth. We all wear masks, not just for the world, but for ourselves. We pretend we're fine when we're falling apart. We tell ourselves we're trying when we're really just delaying. We blame the timing, the people, the pressure, when deep down we know the real problem is our refusal to face the mirror with full honesty. The second habit that changed everything for me was simple, but brutal. I stopped running from truth. I made honesty my default setting, especially with myself. That meant no more dressing up excuses as reasons. No more pretending I didn't have time when the truth was I just didn't want to be uncomfortable. No more telling myself I was confused when really I just didn't want to make a hard decision. The moment I started calling things what they actually were, I started regaining control of my life. It's not easy. Telling the truth costs something. It costs your pride. It costs your comfort. But it will always set you free. And freedom is more valuable than ego. Every time I caught myself avoiding the truth, whether it was about how I was spending my time, how I was treating my health, or how I was avoiding my potential, I made a decision. Speak it. Say it plainly. No fluff. No filter. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's not about shame. It's about clarity, because you can't fix what you keep faking, and most people aren't stuck because they lack ability. They're stuck because they keep lying about the real problem. They keep saying, "I don't know what to do," when really they're just afraid to do it. I was that person, and for a long time I mistook overthinking for strategy and indecision for intelligence. It wasn't. It was fear in disguise when I started asking myself hard questions and demanding real answers. I finally started moving forward. Why haven't I started? What am I pretending not to know? What would I do if I wasn't scared? These aren't comfortable questions. But they're powerful. They strip away the noise and force you to confront the truth you've been avoiding, and that truth, it hurts, but it also heals. So every day for that week, I looked in the mirror and asked, what's the truth today? Am I showing up or making excuses? Am I choosing growth or comfort? Am I being real or just sounding good? That daily check-in became my compass, because when you start living in truth, your decisions get sharper, your actions get faster, and your results get real. If you want clarity, if you want progress, if you want freedom, start with the truth. Stop sugarcoating it. Stop delaying it. Say it. Write it. Face it. Because your excuses can't survive in the presence of your honesty. And when the excuses die, the real you starts to rise. Your mind will always try to negotiate with your body. It will say, you're tired. Even when you're not, it will say, skip today. You deserve a break, even when you haven't earned it. And if you keep listening to that voice, it will keep running your life. That's why the third habit that changed everything for me in 1 week was this. I moved my body before my mind had a chance to talk me out of it. This isn't about being a fitness freak or chasing some aesthetic. This is about dominion, control, ownership. When you wake up and take physical action before your mind starts making excuses, you teach yourself something powerful. You are not your feelings. You are not your tiredness. You are not your laziness. You are a builder, and movement is your daily proof. It's not about the workout itself. It's about the message it sends. I run this, not my doubt, not my weakness. Asterisk me, asterisk. The first few days, it wasn't dramatic. It was just a walk, or 20 push-ups, or a few minutes of stretching, but it wasn't optional. That's the key. The rule was move first, no debate, no snooze button, no inner negotiation. Why? Because if you win that first battle, the rest of the day is different. You already proved to yourself that you can act without waiting for motivation. That's where confidence is born. You don't build discipline by reading about it. You build it by doing something uncomfortable and asterisk, not dying from it asterisk. And when you do it again the next day and the next, your self-image begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who asterisk executes asterisk. The body becomes the battleground where you reclaim control over your life. What surprised me the most, how quickly it affected my mind. After just a few days of movement first thing in the morning, I was thinking clearer. I wasn't drowning in mental fog by noon. I felt sharper, more alert, less reactive. Why? Because when the body is activated, the brain gets blood, the heart gets engaged, and the mood gets recalibrated. You don't have to overthink your life when you're already asterisk in motion asterisk. You don't need to feel like it when you've already acted in spite of it. So I stopped treating movement like a fitness goal and started treating it like a asterisk ritual of war asterisk. It was me declaring, I won't be a slave to comfort. I won't let another day slip by because I felt off. I will move. I will act. I will command my body so I can command my life. And once you make that decision, just for 1 week you'll feel the power coming back, the fog lifts, the weakness fades, not because it disappears, but because asterisk you've decided who's in charge asterisk. Movement first, mind second. That's how you take the wheel back from your excuses. And that's how you begin to build a life that listens to your commitment, not your comfort. Your feelings are liars. They will tell you to rest when you need to rise. They will tell you to wait when the moment is now. They will whisper that you're not ready, not qualified, not good enough. And if you keep listening, you will keep living beneath your potential. That's why the fourth habit that changed everything for me in 1 week was this. I acted on my priorities, not my mood. Most people live at the mercy of how they feel. If they feel motivated, they work. If they feel confident, they speak. If they feel inspired, they show up. But what happens when you don't feel anything but tired, scared, or unworthy? You stay stuck, and your life becomes a reflection of inconsistency, not commitment. That was me starting things I didn't finish, making plans I didn't follow through on, caught in a cycle of emotional decision making, and it was exhausting, until one day I flipped it. I sat down and wrote out my non-negotiables. Not when I feel like it, goals, not maybe later, ideas. I mean the real, clear, practical actions that, if done daily, would move my life forward, writing for 30 minutes, hydrating intentionally, showing up to my workout, reaching out to clients or mentors, and I decided these things happen asterisk regardless asterisk of how I feel, no vote, no debate, just action. Something powerful happens when you stop asking your feelings for permission. Your identity starts to shift. You begin to see yourself as reliable, as solid, as someone who finishes what they start. You begin to trust yourself because you're no longer riding the emotional roller coaster of maybe today, maybe not, and that self-trust becomes fuel. Here's what you need to understand. Your future doesn't care about your feelings. It responds to your asterisk habits asterisk. Your destiny doesn't show up for the version of you that's always waiting for the right time. It shows up for the version that acts even with shaky hands, even with a heavy heart. That version wins, that version grows, that version changes their life. The key isn't to fake energy or pretend you feel great when you don't. The key is to asterisk anchor your action asterisk to your values, not your mood. I started asking myself every morning, what matters today? And I did those things before I let the noise of life distract me. That discipline, even in small doses, became a weapon. It became the difference between surviving the day and asterisk owning asterisk the day. So if you want to see real change, stop waiting to feel ready. Stop checking your emotional temperature every morning. Build a life where the asterisk mission asterisk leads, not the mood. Because when your priorities are louder than your feelings, progress becomes predictable. And in just 7 days, you'll stop being surprised by your growth, because you'll know exactly where it's coming from. Most people don't lack progress, they lack awareness. They're not failing because they don't have goals. They're failing because they don't know what's actually moving them forward or holding them back. That's why the fifth habit that changed everything for me in 1 week was this. I started tracking everything that mattered and ignored everything that didn't. You can't change what you won't measure, and that's the trap. Going through your days with a vague sense of effort, thinking you're grinding, thinking you're doing enough, but with no real proof. When I started tracking the things that actually mattered, my sleep, my energy levels, my water intake, my screen time, my physical activity, my key tasks, I couldn't hide anymore. The truth was right there. In numbers, in patterns, in brutal, honest clarity. That kind of self-accountability is a mirror. You stop guessing and start asterisk knowing asterisk. You stop lying to yourself about why things aren't working because the data doesn't lie. I wasn't as consistent as I thought. I wasn't sleeping as well as I claimed. I wasn't moving my body every day like I said I would. But instead of feeling shame, I felt clarity, and clarity creates power. I didn't track 100 things. I picked 5. the things that had the biggest ripple effect on my physical, mental, and emotional state, that alone created momentum. Every night I took 5 minutes and asked, did I do what I said I would do? How did I feel today? What drained me? What energized me? That practice made me intentional, because now I wasn't just living. I was learning from my life and then I did something most people never do. I ignored what didn't matter. The opinions, the distractions, the trends, the random tasks that looked productive but weren't aligned with anything real. I cleared the noise, and once the noise went down, the signal, the direction, the clarity, the purpose got louder. You don't need more apps, you don't need more goals, you need more awareness and awareness only grows through attention. Most of us are busy reacting, but tracking makes you a builder. It turns your day into data. It makes your choices visible, and when your choices are visible, your power returns. Suddenly, you're not lost in, I don't know why I feel off. You can look, you can see, you can adjust. That's how change actually works. Not in random moments of hype, but in repeated moments of reflection and realignment. So if you're serious about changing your life, stop guessing, start tracking, track what fuels you, track what drains you. Track what you're actually doing, not what you wish you were doing, because what gets tracked gets changed, and 7 days of that kind of focus can do more for your growth than 7 months of blind hustle. There comes a point where motivation isn't enough, journals aren't enough, vision boards, podcasts, plans. They all fall flat if one thing doesn't shift, your threshold for your own excuses. The sixth and final habit that changed everything for me in 1 week wasn't a routine, a system, or a strategy. It was a decision. I got sick and tired of my own excuses, not annoyed, not slightly uncomfortable. Done because here's the truth. Most people don't change when they see the light. They change when they feel the heat, and I had to feel it. I had to sit in the discomfort of knowing that I was the one holding me back. Not the world, not my past, not my environment, me. I had built a life that was safe, convenient, and padded with rationalizations. I'm just not ready. It's not the right time. I'll start Monday. But the clock didn't care about my comfort. And neither did my potential, so I started calling my own bluff. Every excuse I gave, I questioned. Every time I said, I'm too tired, I asked, really, or just undisciplined. Every time I said, I don't have time, I pulled out my screen report and proved myself wrong. Every time I said, I'll do it later, I imagined looking at my life 10 years from now, still saying the same thing, and the disgust started to outweigh the delay. There's a sacred shift that happens when you stop tolerating your own softness. When you stop rewarding your delay with comfort, when you start seeing your excuses not as innocent thoughts, but as enemies to your progress, that's when grit is born. That's when urgency shows up. Not the fake kind that posts quotes, but the real kind that wakes you up earlier, pushes you farther, and doesn't negotiate with weakness. It's not that the excuses go away, they'll always be there, but when you raise your standard and say, I don't operate like that anymore, something in you locks in. It's personal now. You're not just doing habits for some goal. You're building a code, a code that says, I do what needs to be done even when I don't feel like it. A code that says excuses don't lead here, only action does. So I stopped being gentle with my limitations. I stopped being polite to the voice that said, you've done enough. I replaced it with a new voice that said, you haven't even scratched the surface. And in just 1 week, that mindset started bleeding into everything. My time, my training, my conversations, my decisions. Because the second you decide to stop accepting your excuses, the game changes. It's not easy, but it's liberating and once you taste what it feels like to be free from your own limits, you'll never want to go back.